Hello, housekeeping here. Before we begin the episode, I just have to tell you my exciting news. So finally, after months of talking about it and toying with the idea, I finally set a date for my first ever masterclass. Are you tired of spending hours preparing lessons? Would you like to cut down on your prep time and stress levels? Would you like to learn how to exploit just one piece of material in tons of different ways? Look no further. Introducing Less Prep, Less Stress, how to exploit your materials in multiple ways. In this masterclass for English teachers, I'm going to give you so much value in 1 hour, you'll barely believe it. You will learn how to use just one piece of material to draw students' attention to and practice institutionalized grammar phrases. Get away from rules-based grammar. Recycle previously learnt phrases. Use repetition to improve students' confidence. Use chunking to improve vocabulary retention, correct students' emergent language, and review and practice pronunciation. And this, in turn, will reduce your prep time, reduce your stress levels, and make happier students. What more could you want? Oh, you want more? You want more? Okay, I'll give you more. On top of all this value, there'll be a bonus Q&A session at the end of the masterclass. All this for just €25. But wait, there's more. What do you mean there's more? Of course there's more. If you book before the 31st of August, you will get a 20% discount. Just find the link in the show notes of this episode or in my bio on Instagram or any of my social media posts coming up in the next few weeks. You'll find the link there and just use promo code LessPrep20. I really hope you sign up. I'd love to see you there. And in the meantime, let's crack on with the episode. Welcome to Everything EFL podcast. My name's Erin O'Byrne and I absolutely love sharing my knowledge with you, my darling teacher, and helping you build not only community but your students' confidence. I truly believe that a positive frame of mind is essential for your students to learn. There's also a bunch of other teachy stuff thrown in for good measure too. Are you ready? Let's go! Hello, you gorgeous teacher. Welcome to Everything EFL podcast. I'm Erin. If you are one of my lovely regular listeners, welcome back. If you're a new listener, you are most welcome. Well, before we start, I know you had a bit of blurb at the beginning, but I just have to tell you that last week I reached 10,000 listens. 10,000 actual listens. 10,000. I'm sorry, I know I keep repeating it, but I literally cannot believe it. I am so excited. I just want to say thank you to everybody who has listened, who has shared, who's commented on any of my posts. I am in such a happy place at the moment and I hope to just continue moving forward and gaining even more momentum. And if you listen fairly regularly and feel like you would like to help me out here, you can do a few things. Really simple, doesn't take any time. Just think of it as a little, paying it forward for all of the value and the content that you get every couple of weeks from me. So you can share any of my posts on social media. You can talk me up and recommend me to your colleagues, or send me an email and I'll email you a poster that you can put up in your staff room to advertise for me. Thank you. If you don't want to do any of those things, that's fine. Just keep listening. All right, let's crack on, shall we? I just want to tell you a little story to begin. So last episode 85, just have a listen to it if you haven't already. But I finished by giving you a little dialogue building exercise. Just a brief recap for those of you who didn't listen. So it basically, this activity, you get pieces of paper and you write one line of dialogue on each piece of paper. Let's say 5 pieces of paper. And I usually base the sentences on some kind of grammar point. I was telling a friend about it today, or yesterday actually, because she was asking me what can I do for the lesson on Monday? I've got passive. So I told her about this activity and then I asked her 2 questions. I said, what's going to be useful for students in conversation? Dialogues. And also, what common verb phrases can you use in these dialogues using the passive? So things like, my flight's been delayed, what's it called, things like that. So you're looking at the grammar in context, you're seeing how the grammar point works with other grammar points and language. So that there is just one of the many, many reasons why dialogues can be so effective and useful in class. We can call that number 1. I'm just going to count down a few more reasons why you shouldn't shy away from them. And then at the end, I'll give you a really easy, quick, simple bonus activity on how you can use dialogues. Okay, so let's go on to number 2, shall we? Dialogues represent real-life speech. How many times have you opened some kind of language textbook, for low levels or beginners and seen sentences like, I have a pen, you have a book, she has a backpack, etc., etc. And what the authors are intending here is to show students how to correctly use the verb to have with all the pronouns. But the problem is, do people talk like this? Do they talk to each other in this way? I'm really hoping you're saying no there. Please refer back to the passive turkey sentence in my previous episode. By using a dialogue, you can introduce the meaning and use of the verb to have through, just real life phrases like Mary says, "You've such a lovely house, And then Tom says, "Yeah, I do. Oh, it has a big garden too. Wanna see it?" So there's this definite exchange of meaningful information. I've used a filler like "oh" as well, and at the end of a sentence there. There's a contraction, you've, and wanna, that kind of slang word wanna, and also yeah. So just in those two lines, you've got so much going on in terms of language, and it's so much better than just showing these isolated I have a pen, you have a book kind of sentences. You're not helping your students when you do this. Stick it in a dialogue. Okay, number 3, students love to role play. And if a dialogue reflects a social situation, like visiting a friend, talking on the phone or shopping, of course they're going to enjoy it. It's going to mean something to them and they can imagine themselves in this situation. And then you can always add some, intonation-y spice, add your own emotions, go down the drama road if your students are into that. Think of what you and your students could create together. And if you want any more ideas about drama in lessons, go way back to episode 43 and have a listen. Number 4, dialogues provide models on which students can base their own conversations. So this repetition of this dialogue and this role play, that it might result in a possible memorization of key phrases. Like, think about my last example. Yeah, I do, or wanna see it, or something like that. I'm a firm believer that, you can include these really, really short phrases in your dialogues. And I often point out that if you look at a dialogue, if you have a question, it's often followed with a very short response and then a longer sentence. So what did I say before? Like, you have a lovely house. Yeah, I do. And then the longer sentence follows, I have a big garden too. Do you want to see it? Number 5, dialogues force students to focus on language production in a way that helps them practice correct usage. So you've got that focus on accuracy. And it is quite hard to do accuracy because, students, they make tons of mistakes all the time. And it can be quite exhausting for both of you. Like, how much do I correct? When is too much? When do I correct? Students often have a fear of making mistakes, but dialogues can offer support and scaffolding and, a chance, again, to learn loads of key phrases off by heart, hopefully to be repeated in later, natural, real-life conversations. Number 6, student-created dialogues can be used to encourage creativity, which is why I always bang on about my dialogue idea. Again, see last episode. Dialogues don't always have to come from you or for the course book, see what your students can actually create. And then you can have another step after that, the making changes stage, the correction stage, but we don't use the word corrections here, we say making changes. And then you've got like a bunch of dialogues that your students have created and produced, and then you can use them in later lessons. It's material for you for later lessons where you can focus on role play or, pick out certain things that they wrote that you want to focus on. And, when students are presented with their own material, how much more engaged and excited are they going to be? And I think also that familiarity as well, like it's not always about creating new things all the time. There's nothing wrong with using the same materials again or doing one activity once or twice or even more times depending on how into it the students are. Number 7, dialogues can be used as a basis for listening to comprehension, okay? There's always a transcript session in my listening lessons, all right? It would just be such a shame not to use a transcript and exploit it somehow. Even if it's something small like give the students a choice, you can either listen to the whatever it is and answer the questions, or you can read and listen at the same time. And they can use it if they're checking their answers in groups, which they should be doing because it encourages communication between your students. They can use the dialogue or the transcript to check their answers, especially if there is a bit of a conflict or a disagreement as to what the correct answer is. And again, it's no extra work for you. Number 8. So the beauty of dialogues is they can be as long or as short as you need them or want them to be. And you can find examples everywhere. You can create them. You can find them online. You can use the ones already in your course book. The question isn't where can I find them? It's what can I do with them? And this is something that I offer you in my upcoming masterclass. Details in the show notes. Not going to bang on about it anymore, okay? All I'm going to say is click on the link in the show notes. So I'm going to give you one little very, very simple bonus activity that you can use with dialogues. And I think this is especially effective with lower levels, right? So let's just say you've got like a standard dialogue. Hi, where are you from? I'm from blah, blah, blah. What about you? How old are you? I'm blah, blah, blah. What about you? What you can do is get students to replace those key phrases with their own information. So if the dialogue says, where are you from? Oh, I'm from London. You can blank out London or tell them, use your own information as you're going through the dialogue. I mean, how simple is that? How simple is that? Okay, guys, thank you so much for sticking with me. Have a really safe, peaceful week. Look after yourselves. You deserve it. Put yourselves first, guys. And as always, share the love. Bye.